Hey everyone, welcome back to GL Spinners. Today I've got another new Spinner Day video for you. We are taking a look at the Biton from VC EDC. So I just got this one in the mail, and this is the bar spinner version of their popular Triton spinner series. And it's really impressive out of the box. You can see it's just a nice hefty little bar spinner. Let's go ahead and start where I always do. We'll take a look at what it comes in. This one's shipped in a nice tin. It's got a branded VC EDC sticker on it with their name, logo, and then down here at the bottom it's got the spinner name. This spinner is only offered in stainless steel, but they have a huge sticker here on the side just in case you forgot. It does have nice foam inside to keep it safe during shipping, and they also include an extra bearing, which is a nice touch. The one installed is a hybrid, and the extra here is a stainless steel bearing. One other item that they also include is they also ship it with a bearing removal tool. It's nice because it just fits right in the slots on the bearing lock, so you can easily loosen or tighten it. And I'm always a fan of extras, and VC EDC has been doing a really great job of that lately. Let's go ahead and take a look at the spinner itself. You can see the styling on this is just like the Triton version 2, but with that bar spinner design, it definitely has a different feel. It is a chunky spinner just like the Triton, but again, with that different shape, it makes it much better for EDC. As far as the weight, it's going to come in at 85 grams or 3 ounces, and from end to end, it's going to measure in at 1 7/8 of an inch. So like I said, it really is a chopped up Triton version 2. It's got very similar chamfers all along the edges. There's no rough edges or corners to speak of on it. However, there are some slight imperfections on the machining. There are some areas that just have slight marks and little imperfections. It's not too noticeable, and no gouges or scratches, but it is something to point out. Another area to point out on this one is going to be this side. Here where these chamfers meet, they come to like a ridge or an edge, and it's not sharp or even rough, but you do feel it, and this is exactly where your finger rests when you spin it. It hasn't annoyed me so far, but it's just different as you usually would expect a smooth face here. But let's go ahead and move on to the spin. It's balanced well and it's smooth. I like the feel of it. It does have your standard bar spinner wobble, and maybe even slightly more than on some just due to the weight of the arms. But here from the side you can see this thing's just as thick, and I mean right on with the Triton version 2. It's a heavy bar spinner. In hand, I think it's a huge improvement to the Triton. With its smaller frame, I think it's just a much better fidgeter, and I mean you can easily pull it, flick it. With the size, you can even, you can spin it however you like. Pretty much whatever method you prefer, you can do it, and that's a big difference over the Triton. And again, with all those chamfers along the edges, everything's very comfortable and nice to the touch. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the buttons. So here's another spot VC EDC improved the buttons. They have a recessed pad with a raised edge around them, but they're nowhere near as thick as on the Triton version 2. They are pretty much the same diameter, but the pad area is slightly larger as well. I mean, we all know I'm a huge fan of giant buttons, and they could be a little bit larger, but they are an improvement over some recent ones I've seen from VC EDC. Unlike some other spinners I've shown recently, these can be replaced with any standard R188 pads, so if you don't like them, you can easily change them. They are threaded, and just like on the Hammer of God, you can see they moved away from that capsule system. They embedded the bearing in the frame, and then on the other side you've got a nice threaded lock. I much prefer this system and hope they continue it. You can see here it leaves everything flush to the frame, and again, it's extremely easy to remove and maintain. Let's move on to spin time on this one. Everyone's going to ask how long it spins because the Triton version 2 was such a long spinner, and even with the frame change and the increased fidgetability, it doesn't disappoint. I did some table spins before the video and mine averaged 8 minutes. That's a great time out of the box, and again, I'm sure you can squeeze some extra time out of it if you clean the bearing really well. But now we're to the point, let's go ahead and compare it to some other spinners just to give you kind of a size comparison. So the first one I'm going to show it against is obviously like the grandfather of it, the Triton version 2. So they obviously have a different shape and size, but you can see all the elements of the design is still here. The chamfering on it's the same. They're both still hefty, thick spinners. The arms are almost identical on it. And here you can see the difference on the buttons too. The version 2 has a huge set, while the ones on the Biton are much thinner, and I think that's a big improvement in my opinion. You can also see, while they're about the same diameter, that pad on the Biton is a little bit larger than that on the Triton version 2. Now let me show it next to what I think is the true comparison to it, and that's going to be the Stubby. You can see they're very similar in shape and size. The Stubby, it does have a different feel because it doesn't have the chamfers along the edges the same way the Biton does, but it has much more complex curves. You know, while the Biton has a flat edge here, the Stubby has a curved edge. And I mean, you can just see they're very, very similar in the look. The Stubby buttons are slightly larger than on the Biton, and they're thinner as well. Another difference is that the Biton is going to weigh about a ½ an ounce heavier. So while it's not a clone, I do think it is an inexpensive alternative to a Stubby. The Biton comes in at $45, which is just a great value for what you get. So something to keep in mind. Even though I like the buttons and I do think they are improved, I still threw on a pair of the Spinetic XL buttons. They just give you a great grip, and I think they really match the size of the spinner well. So I mean, in review, the Biton surprised me. I really like it. I haven't been the biggest fan of the Triton series, but this is a good spinner, and I recommend it. Again, at $45, if you're not in the market for one of the really high-end bar spinners, this is a really good substitute. I'll have a link in the description down below to VC EDC's website. You can purchase the spinner there. Spinetic also sells them. If you decide to go to Spinetic's website, definitely add the XL buttons. They're only about $5 and some change, and it's a huge improvement. Plus, it only makes the spinner about 50 bucks. But let me know what you think. Did you pick one up? How do you like it? If you've got any questions, definitely put them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. If you like the video, be sure and give me a thumbs up, as it always helps. And if you want to see more spinner content reviews, be sure and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good one.